are these people?
Planet Betar. We're here. We're on the planet Betar. Everyone's favorite conehead, Baldar, I think. Correct? If I remember correctly, if I remember my 90s SNL well enough. But unfortunately, it won't be as fun as Coneheads. It's going to be a little more irritating. Do you know anything about Betar? Have you seen them around?
No.
Okay. Famously, they gave like Norman Finkelstein a pager. They're pretty despicable individuals. So Alan Macleod wrote about them. Betar, the far-right hate group helping Trump deport Israel's critics. So it goes along with our previous segment. But Alan writes, a far-right pro-Israel group with a history of support for terror and genocide is working closely with the Trump administration, preparing dossiers on thousands of pro-Palestinian figures it wants deported from the United States. Betar US is known to have had several meetings with senior government officials and has claimed credit for the arrest and detention of Mahmoud Khalil, a leader of the nationwide anti-genocide student demonstrations that began at Columbia last year. Ross Glick, the group's executive director until last month, noted that he met with a diverse set of influential lawmakers, including Democratic Senator John Festerman and aides to the Republican Senators Ted Cruz and James Lankford, and that all supported Betar's U.S. campaign to rid the country of thousands of terror supporters. Again, goes back to this Patriot Act-y kind of McCarthyite stuff. So shortly after Glick's trip to D.C., Trump signed an executive order titled Additional Measures to Combat Anti-Septicism that promises the removal of residential aliens who violate our laws, and not the fun conehead aliens. Definitely not those. So to quell pro-Hamas vandalism and intimidation, and to investigate and punish anti-Jewish racism and leftist anti-American colleges and universities. So just completely full of it. Trump himself announced that Khalil's arrest, which made worldwide headlines, was the first of many to come. We know that there are more students at Columbia and other universities across the country who've engaged in pro-terrorist, anti-Semitic, anti-American activity, and the Trump administration will not tolerate it. He wrote on Truth Social, the 45th and 47th president has also stated, funny on Truth Social, the free speech platform, much speech, much wow.
Yeah.
Plans to deport communists and Marxists from the United States. So just dig McCarthy right out that grave. Why don't you? Just dig him right up, wheel him out. So even those who are citizens, I don't know how you do that, you dumb fuck. As such, this marks an escalation in government-backed suppression of dissent not seen since the McCarthyist era of the 1940s and 50s. Have you no decency, sir? I'll start that shit, I guess. Betar US describes itself as a loud, proud, aggressive, and unapologetically Zionist movement dedicated to defending Israel's legitimacy and strengthening the Jewish connection to the land of Israel. This includes taking action where others won't, a rather ominous phrase, considering the aggressive activities of the Jewish organization it derives as passive and weak. I wonder if they would feel if other organizations said the same things, if they would be as welcome to that language.
Right.
Last week, the group appeared to openly admit to organize an assassination attempt on Francesca Albanese, the United Nations Special Rapporteur on the occupied Palestinian territories. Joined to give us Francesca a pager in London on Tuesday, it posted online, in apparent reference to the September pager attack on Lebanon carried out by the Israeli military. I do believe John Festerman and Trump both got pagers on plaques.
Pagers too, yes.
So I would, if I were you guys, I would check those for microphones. I'm just saying, it would seem very easy to me to bug those, but what do I know? The incident killed dozens of people, injured thousands more civilians, and was widely condemned. A lot of children, if I do remember, and medical staff who are the people with pagers. So even former CIA Director Leon Panetta as an act of international terrorism. So Last month, Betar US made a similar threat against Jewish American writer Peter Beinart after the New York Times published his article criticizing the state of Israel. It put out a statement reading, "We urge all Jews on the Upper West Side to give Peter Beinart a 3-pager emoji. He is a traitor, a capo, and we must oppose him." Thus, Betar not only smeared him as a Nazi collaborator and called for his assassination, but also appeared to reveal Beinart's home location. So
how they not? Well, we know why. But
we know why. We know why. God forbid they actually do anything illegal and get like consequences. So, a similar incident occurred to political scientist Norman Finkelstein in an effort to intimidate him into silence. A Betar member slipped a pager into his coat pocket, filming the incident after Finkelstein refused to stop speaking out after injustice in the Middle East. Last weekend, the group attempted to break up his public event in D.C. Perhaps most outrageously, Betar has also publicly placed a bounty on the head of Palestinian-American activist Nerdine Kiswani, telling her that you hate America, you hate Jews, and we are here and won't be silent. $1,800 to anyone who hands that jihadi a beeper. And later, repeating the offer, after worldwide pushback, the organization has deleted its post calling for political killings of international officials and U.S. citizens. You want to know why? Because apparently they are distractions. That's what Betar said. That those are distractions, and you can see her there with the tweet above. $1,800 to anyone who hands her a beeper. So John Stone weighs in. Pretty wild how terrorists are allowed to just openly incite and incentivize acts of terrorism on this platform now. Like, if this was on the other foot, people would be arrested and deported.
Arrested, right? Exactly.
God
forbid a black person or black organization says shit like that.
Yeah, what happens to Panthers if they do this, huh? Speaking of which, like, I mean, they still shoot Fred Hampton's grave in Louisiana. So, Chicago police take, fucking car trips all the way down. So, isn't that fun? Yeah, where's the outrage, people? Huh? Where's it at? In addition, Betar has regularly attempted to intimidate or shut down movements or gatherings protesting Israeli crimes. At a student event at UCLA, Betar publicly stated, "We demand police remove these thugs now, and if not, we'll be forced to organize groups of Jews to do so. Bring it on, homeboy." In January, it tried to break up a New York City vigil for Hind Rajab, a five-year-old Palestinian girl brutally murdered by Israeli forces. Betar members filmed the event, telling attendees they were with ICE and using facial recognition technologies to obtain their identities, which would subsequently be used to deport them. Keep in mind, we talked about Israel using that technologies. So there's some trouble there and fear-mongering as well. In recent weeks, Betar members have also chanted hate speech outside a Bangladeshi mosque in New York City and attacked people who protested the illegal sale of occupied West Bank land at an auction in Brooklyn. I thought they didn't like defamation of people's religions. I thought that was their thing. That Betar is a hate group is barely in question. Even notoriously pro-Israel groups such as the ADL, an organization the FBI once noticed was almost certainly being bankrolled by the Israeli government, I don't know how they couldn't be, have included it in lists of extreme hate organizations. The ADL notes that Betar uses the fascist Kahanist slogan, "For every Jew, a 22," meaning Jews should be armed with 22 rifles. Homeboy, they make bigger millimeters now. I'm just saying. You don't need no 22 no more. We got bigger ones. And has indicated it wishes to work with the Proud Boys, a far-right American gang. Weird, right?
How they not declared a terrorist group?
I think they are. I do believe. So
why isn't anyone? But protesters are the problem now.
We're too busy worried about children, with some picket signs, Collin. We're too worried about that. Kent State taught us nothing, apparently. What do I know? But yes, I'm with you. I'm with you on these questions. Betar frequently reveals in violence against civilian populations and calls for genocide against Palestinians. Fuck your ceasefire. Turn Gaza to rubble, they announced last month. Betar firmly supports the plan to remove Palestinians from Gaza, aka ethnic cleansing. Betar, they added in response to a post detailing the vast number of Palestinian babies killed since October 7th. It replied, "Not enough. We demand blood in Gaza. Children's blood, infants' blood, babies' blood. That's what they want." So, yeah, despicable people. No mercy, they say. Two can play that game, you realize. Two can play that game. Just saying. You might reap what you sow in that regard. So,
right.
You know, what's the golden rule? What's Jesus's golden? Oh, wait, they don't do that. They don't do that whole New Testament thing, right? Well, Betar traces its origins back over 100 years. The group was founded by early Zionist leader Zeev Jabotsky, a far-right paramilitary force. So that's what it started as.
Very Semitic name there.
Yes, and keep in mind that, like, Zionism predates the Holocaust, just saying, by about, like, a lot. One that explicitly stood against the leftist Jewish groups who dominated at a time when Jewish and socialist were seen by many as virtually synonymous. Jabotsky believed that establishing a state in Palestine would require the creation of what he called a new Jew, one that would be willing to fight and die for Zionism. To this end, Betar was established as a fighting organization and received generous funding from conservative benefactors. Jabotsky introduced members to swear an oath to the unborn Israel. "I devote my life to the rebirth of a Jewish state with a Jewish majority on both sides of the Jordan. The creation of such a state, therefore, would require the mass extermination or expulsion of the region's native inhabitants." Betar's former name was Brit Yosef Trumpeldor, named after a Jewish settler who was killed in 1920 in an early firefight with Palestinians over disputed land. I thought this all started October 7th, Colin.
Right.
It was exactly men like Trumpeldor. Why is it Trump Eldor? Why is it Trump Eldor? Huh? Anyone wanna fucking tell me that? Huh? Who Jabotsky believed were necessary in order to win, in contrast to the majority of European Jews, who he saw as passive and weak. That seems anti-Semitic, sir. 1920s Europe was a time of rising anti-Semitism, and despite their inherent anti-Jewish nature, many conservative Jews admired the discipline and organization of fascist paramilitaries, such as Hitler's brown shirts. Betar was modeled on these groups, with Jabotsky believing that Zionist project's success was dependent on the establishment of such organizations. So right on the face of this, fascist as hell. So, because of their anti-communist, anti-worker outlook, conservative money flooded into Betar, helping it become one of the largest and most influential Jewish organizations by the 1930s, with membership rising to around 70,000 people. Betar leaders would go on to become key figures in Israeli politics. These included Prime Ministers Menachem Begin and Yitzhak Shamir, as well as Benjamin Netanyahu, the father of current Benjamin Netanyahu. So, what other organizations, Colin, around the 1930s received a whole bunch of conservative money? You want to tell me that? You know, all the way up into the 60s and 70s?
And,
well, them too?
Well, no, but
I'm thinking of the one with a K.
Starts with a letter. Yeah, starts with a
couple of those letters.
3 times.
Couple of white hoods. Okay, just making sure I'm on the right path. Does that look familiar, Colin? That photos like that? Okay. Yep. I mean, Boy Scouts. Where do they come from? Who were they modeled after? This is a Polish town in Zakopane in 1935, right? Looks very, very familiar to me. A particular youth group comes to mind. But while this depiction of Betar as a fascist terrorist group might sound biased or one-sided, Much of this information comes directly from the organization itself. On its official website, Our History section, Betar writes, emphasis added, Betar thus became an incubator for the development of right-wing Zionist ideas, and its supporters are sometimes referred to as Jewish fascists. In Palestine, Betar members facilitated illegal Jewish immigration and were active instigators of disturbances and violence, frequently bombing Arab civilian areas in response to attacks and waging guerrilla warfare against the British. So, thus, the organization does not shy away from the fascism label, and it proudly notes that it frequently carried out terror organizations against Arab civilians in Palestine. At some point in the past week, after it began receiving increased scrutiny for its connections to the Trump admin, Betar has removed both the fascist moniker and the boast about bombing Arabs, but the original page can still be viewed via the Internet Archive. Thank you, Internet Archive. Since October 7th, Betar has greatly upped its presence in the United States thanks to far-right Israeli-American businessman Ron Taroshian and executive director Ross Glick. In July 2024, it successfully applied for tax-exempt nonprofit status, meaning it is classified by the government as a fucking charity. Since our revival in 2024, Betar has made a powerful impact across the U.S., and it's just getting started. We are recruiting, developing, and empowering Jews to become unapologetic Zionist leaders, defending Israel on campuses, in communities, and across all platforms, Betar writes. Yet an investigation by the Intifada, the Electronic Intifada Indie Media Award winners, suggests that Betar might have illegally fundraised. Yay! Illegal money, the best kind.
On that.
The same report notes that Glick has faced serious allegations of sex crimes. In 2019, his former girlfriend found nude images of herself posted on her company's official Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter pages. What? Glick was arrested and charged with unlawful use of a computer and unlawfully posting the lewd pictures. He pleaded guilty to second-degree harassment, a violation, and a paid fine. Fuck, a slap on the wrist he got, Collin.
What?
Jesus Christ. Ugh. Anyway, commentators across the political spectrum agree that Trump administration is pushing the U.S. in a rightward direction, in the process running roughshod over constitutional protections and guarantees. In doing so, they have found... Yes?
I argue that's been on its way thanks to Biden.
Yeah, it's been the case. There's no right wing. It's just all fucking the money wing. In doing so, they have found allies in many controversial groups that such a small and new movement like Betar already enjoys such influence within the White House has already raised eyebrows. Given Israel's determination to continue its genocidal campaign against its neighbors and Trump's limitless support for its ally, oh, but he's anti-war, the peace get you, baby. It appears likely that Betar's power is expected to grow under the current administration. If this is the case, this is bad news for those who value the right to speak freely and to protest. It is therefore crucial that the group be understood and scrutinized rather than be allowed to operate in the shadows behind closed doors. Thoughts, Care Bear?
Play the Mitzi clip.
Sure. I think it's around here. Come on. You can do it. You can do it. I believe in you.
Fucked.
Yay. We did it. Hopefully not too bad.
Yeah, it's just...
So...
Well, no, I would imagine it's going to get worse before it gets any better, if it does get better at all. And yeah, so again, this is why we said in the last segment to please be careful. Because, you know, as I said, I would argue even being a citizen is not going to guarantee you safety at this point. So as we said, like, they have deported people, quote unquote, by accident.
Trump actually said he's going to deport them even if you're a citizen.
Right.
Even if you're a citizen.
You know,
I imagine internment camps are on the fucking drawing board. So,
Right.
unfortunately.
Right. But yeah, I think it's just funny that like people talk about when groups of color come together to actually try and do something that we see them as a threat, but someone like the KKK has not been determined as a terrorist group. This group has not been determined as a terrorist group. But yet, someone like, again, like
Mahmoud
Nelson
Khalil.
Mandela.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Just recently got off that list. So,
terrorist for wanting to end
terror, terror organization, terrorist attacks, terrorism.
What? So that could keep going for a while.
Right. And look, yes, we knew Trump was going to do this, but again, we have to blame the Biden administration for
setting all this up,
keeping the seat warm.
Yep.
For allowing this heinousness to be where they are right now. So, because they obviously are speaking up more about it because it's Trump. But when Biden was doing it, or kind of laying the land for, look, I keep saying, Republicans always benefit from the policies that the Democrats subtly enforce.
Yep.
Because they get to do it brazenly, and they'll get shit for it, but Republicans don't care.
No.
So
bad news, bad things are happening.
Fucking awful.
It's just, I mean, I don't know what else to say other than, just you all just, obviously, we want you all to use your gift. Really, that's what it is at this point, a gift of free speech, but we consider that a right. But like, again, who determines rights in this country? It's not you, it's the people in power. And if they don't like something, they can easily take those rights away from you. So no one is immune. And I'll argue, like, especially if you're Jewish, who thinks, let's make it more clear. If you're a Zionist and you believe that you're kind of safe from all of this, don't think for a second that anything like this will not happen to you too. Because once they're done with everybody that they want, you're next. So anyone who is Jewish, who is anti-Zionist, should really be speaking out against it in terms of how blatantly terrorist this group is and other groups like them who are trying to push our country. Yeah, like the argument is our government has been to the right. It's now kind of blatantly right now. But if you're not speaking out against this, I'm sorry, I don't know what to say about you at this point, because this is very obviously a glaring way of overlooking what this country allegedly stands for. So, I don't have anything else to say of it.
I feel you, dude.
Never let anyone take your joy from you.
What? Well, talking about these things is certainly why we're demonetized and probably on a few watch lists. So if you want to keep the lights on, go to ko-fi.com/indienewsnetwork, scan that QR code of your screen, or as always, link in the doobly-doo. But if you can't give monetarily, like and subscribe, hit that share button, leave a comment, let us know how terrible this organization is in your own words. But otherwise, thanks for watching.